The title of my presentation is Research of Effective Assessment in the Primary Classroom. My 3 peer-reviewed articles are Formative Assessment that Truly Informs Instruction, Curriculum-Based Oral Reading Fluency Norms for Students in Grades 2 through 5, and Assessing Reading Fluency. My first article, Formative Assessment that Truly Informs, is discussing different methods of incorporating formative assessment into your curriculum. This article describes formative assessment as a systematic process to continually gather evidence about student learning. True formative assessment is assessments that are informing to teachers, students, and families. Teachers can formally assess their students in different ways. One way is on-the-fly assessments, which are those that happen during a lesson. For example, when you stop during your lesson to check for understanding. You will ask the students questions about the information that was just discussed, and if they can give you clear, concise, correct answers, then you can move on with your lesson. If not, then maybe it's some information that needs to be retaught. Another formative assessment is planned for interaction. These are more structured assessments that the teacher creates before instruction. For example, if the teacher begins a class period by reviewing a quiz or test that the students have recently taken, or if they group the students with varied activities based on the writing they did in a previous class period, or if the students are grouped to read each other's rough drafts and they have a prepared list of questions to ask the student that they're paired with. Finally, we have curriculum embedded assessments, which are used to gather data at significant points during the learning process. These type of assessments are built around an everyday reading experience and provides a rich picture of students' ability to make sense of text and their awareness of their reading processes. Teachers should have a deep understanding of why they assess, when they assess, and how they assess in ways that positively impact student learning. In addition, successful teachers use a variety of assessments to learn from as well as with their students in order to adjust classroom instruction as needed. Assessments are planned, designed, implemented, and studied by classroom teachers so they can be powerful as well as productive. So on this slide, it's giving you different examples of formative assessment do's. They're telling you what kind of data and information you can gain from giving your students formative assessments. And then we have our list of formative assessment don'ts. These are different examples of information that you will not get when giving students formative assessments. So this article also discussed different types of formative assessments. You have observations. Teachers who observe students engaged in language use and learning come to know their students' strengths and challenges and are then able to plan supportive classroom learning experiences for the students. Some different examples of observations are field notes, running records, and checklists. The next type of formative assessment is conversations. Based on questions they have about student learning, teachers may specifically ask students for further information by conducting surveys, interviews, or conferences with them. Next, we have student self-evaluations. This is an important component of formative assessment. They are deliberate efforts to elicit student perspectives on their own learning. They may reflect on progress toward a goal, on processes used for reading or writing, on new goals, or lingering questions, things they may have questions about. Some different student self-evaluation strategies you can use are exit tickets, rubrics, checklists, process reflections, and student-led conferences. Finally, we have artifacts of learning. So working alone or preferably with others, teachers review data about individual students or groups of students for the purpose of planning future learning experiences. Teachers may collect a variety of sources of information on a single learner. Teachers can review a class set of work samples or observations in order to group students effectively. Teachers can look back at a variety of points along a student's learning journey over the school year or over several years in order to see a pattern of growth and to identify important next steps. I think a perfect example of an artifact of learning would definitely be a portfolio. So now we're moving on to my second article, curriculum-based oral fluency for students in grades 2 through 5. This article ties into my final article because both of them are talking about reading fluency assessments. This article focused more on the purpose of reading fluency assessments, and my last article gives different examples of reading fluency assessments. So in this article, it discussed different reasons for assessing students' reading fluency. One reason was for screening and eligibility of students for special programs. The next reason, setting instructional goals and objectives. Placing students into instructional groups. Monitoring academic progress toward achievement of goals and objectives, and making necessary adjustments to or changes in instruction. My last article, Assessing Reading Fluency, discusses how reading fluency can be assessed using different valid and efficient strategies. The three components of reading fluency are accuracy, or accurate decoding of words and text, automaticity, or decoding words with minimal use of attentional resources, and prosody, or the appropriate use of phrasing and expression to convey meaning. Therefore, reading fluency refers to accurate and automatic decoding of words in the text, along with expressive interpretation of the text to achieve optimal comprehension. Fluency is important in reading because it affects how well readers understand what they read. So the types of fluency assessments that I read about in this article are informal reading inventories, curriculum-based measurement or oral reading fluency assessments, and rubrics, which can either be 4-point rubrics or 6-point rubrics. These were the most effective ways to assess students as it relates to reading. Thank you for watching.